It just
Right.
went right in.
But because the brain is funny,
Yeah.
I,
It worked its way around all.
let's backtrack. Okay. Albert Einstein is the one that everybody quotes as saying you only use 10% of your brain.
That's not true.
It is not. But you know why he said that?
I know.
Because there was a reporter that showed up every single time, no matter what he was talking about, would say, is it true you only use 10% of your brain? But Albert Einstein would ignore him over and over and over
Because it's a dumb question.
and over. And finally, Albert Einstein looked right at him and pointed at him and said, I believe you only use 10% of your brain. And so he wrote it as, Albert Einstein says you only use 10% of your brain.
Yeah.
You use 100% of your brain 100% of the time.
If you
Unless there's been damage done to a certain part, then that part's dead.
Right.
But
anybody who's ever watched any medical show or anything knows that your whole brain lights up
when my daughter
for certain things.
had that plum-sized tumor.
Well, I'm going to restart that all over again because I had to restart the whole live because TikTok deleted my video. So, just a minute. Check out my link tree at linktree/geniusmedia, linktree/take me deeper podcast, and linktree/Treasure Today is Proverbs 18:21. Death and life are in power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. And we're going to be listening to the Take Me Deeper podcast on Spotify, Take 2.
Jesus, won't you take me deeper into the very heart of God? Ooh, Lord, help me to know your will. Father, the strength to carry on, 'cause I wanna go. Send me, and I wanna be what you made me. So may all of the other room in my heart burn. Lord, may all of the other
Welcome to Take Me Deeper. I am Casey Hill.
And I'm Nate Dudley.
Take Me Deeper podcast is a ministry of Machias Christian Fellowship located on 3 Davis Road, Machias. Our service times are Sunday morning, 6:30, 8:30, and 10:30. We observe communion on the third Sunday of every month. Sunday evenings, junior and senior high youth group meet at MCF from 6:30 to 8 p.m. Monday evenings at 7 p.m., we have the Arise Addiction Recovery meetings. On the third Monday of each month, they have a potluck and testimony night, which starts at 6 p.m. We have prayer meeting on Wednesday night at 5:15 p.m., followed by our midweek service Wednesday night at 6:30.
The Bright Arrow Group is a fellowship ministry of MCF. Donations to this ministry can be made through the church website at ccmachias.com. Arise Addiction and Recovery, helping people find freedom from addiction through a personal relationship with our Lord Jesus Christ. For more information on their website at ariseaddictionrecover.com, the church website also has a donation button. Coastal Crowns make handmade hats stitched with care right here in Maine. They are all about that laid-back coastal lifestyle. Built for the dock, the boat, and the weekend grind. Find them on Facebook. Message Coastal Crowns, Dallas Richardson, or Brooke Davis for more information. Frame to Finish Carpentry LLC is a new business started by Joshua Earl. He will be doing carpentry and light construction. We do not have contact information.
Treasures of the Hill is a handmade crafting business of Amanda Hill, editor of this podcast, and my wife. Items include a wide variety of handmade, customizable options. She makes up the merchandise we have available. Check out the website at treasuresofthehill.com or contact Amanda through Facebook on the Treasures of the Hill Facebook page. Thank you for listening to Take Me Deeper. We are now available on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music. Our Facebook page is Take Me Deeper Podcast, where you can interact with other listeners and the creators. And you can also email us at takemedeeperpodcast@gmail.com. I have no idea what episode this is. I was going to count it. Is it 24? 3?
We have.
He's looking. Everybody's
This
looking.
will be our 24th episode.
24. Daniel's going to look up and see, hey, what's the percentage of podcasts making it to 24? Because this has been actually kind of fun for us because the numbers are stupid.
Yeah.
They're I mean, you've probably looked them up, maybe.
I don't. I haven't because I'm.
It's weird.
It is weird.
It doesn't make any sense considering how many people make podcasts and what goes on and how many survive a certain amount of time.
Well, I think, yeah. I mean,
But I wonder
a lot of podcasts are made.
Promote a book.
Yeah,
Right.
just they're quick things, or there's some kind of training.
I wonder if some people made one episode, but they didn't know where they were going to go afterward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
or they realize it's a lot more work than they thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And it ends up costing a lot of money.
Sure.
Depending on which avenue you want to go, and
yeah,
finding your little niche, like your topic of conversation.
It's French, niche.
Yeah. Niche. Certain podcasts, they start out with a certain flavor, right? And not everybody's into that flavor,
right?
You know, and I think that for us, we're not doing it because we wanted the podcast.
No, I wanted a Bible study.
Yeah,
I really did.
I
wanted something. I mean, more doing a home Bible study, but I wanted, because I knew I was going to do that. Right? That wasn't a question. The question that when I first showed up here, because I said to you, something I've always wanted to do is I've wanted to do a podcast. Without hesitation, Nate Dudley goes, let's do it. And I'm like, what? Because I said, what I want to do is I just want to read the Bible and just do some fun commentary rabbit hole stuff.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, I mean, you lit right up like a Christmas tree. And I'm like, no way. He actually wants to do this.
Yeah.
Because remember, what I told you is I'll listen to a whole bunch of different podcasts, but I find it's really hard if it's only one person. I get bored. Like even talk radio, if it's only one person behind a mic, after a while, it's like, it's kind of grating, you know, because they're not bouncing it off from someone else's. Like they'll say something like, "Don't you agree with me?" Well, who are you talking to?
Yeah.
The people on the radio aren't talking back.
Well,
you know,
in our cars we are.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Well, I did a podcast with my friend Ben.
Yeah.
Years ago, and it was just a way for us to kind of bleed off stress from what we did for work.
Sure.
So we called it the Bloody Palm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because the kids' piece symbol is a fuchsia handprint with a dove in the middle of it.
Right.
And so our podcast was the Bloody Palm, which is the side of kids' piece that no one really wants to talk about. Yeah. So we would just talk about weird stuff that happens in the news. I think we kind of covered this before, but I had a little segment that we called Nate's Corner of Doom. It's a story that sounds made up, but it was really true.
Right.
For instance, there was the construction worker in Brazil. He kept getting really bad headaches, and he finally went to the doctor, and they did a head scan, and they found a 4-inch blade in his brain.
Yeah.
And the handle had been snapped off.
Right. He'd been attacked or something.
Yeah. His wife or girlfriend or something
stabbed him in the
head. I don't know how he didn't know that there was. I don't know. That part of the story is not clear.
If I remember correctly, it had entered an area.
Yeah. It didn't sever anything. It just went right in.
But because the brain is funny.
Yeah.
You know,
it worked its way around all.
Let's backtrack. Okay, Albert Einstein is the one that everybody quotes as saying you only use 10% of your brain.
That's not true.
It is not. But do you know why he said that?
I know.
Because there was a reporter that showed up every single time, no matter what he was talking about, would
Mhm.
say, "Is it true you only use 10% of your brain?" But Albert Einstein would ignore him
Mhm.
over and over and over
Because it's a dumb question.
and over. And finally, Albert Einstein looked right at him and pointed at him and said, "I believe you only use 10% of your brain."
And that
And
was
so he wrote it as, Albert Einstein says you only use 10% of your brain.
yeah.
You use 100% of your brain
If
100% of the
you
time.
if you look
Unless
at
there's been damage done to a certain part, then that part's dead.
right,
But did you?
anybody who's ever watched any medical show or anything knows
Yep.
that your whole brain lights up
When my daughter
for certain things.
had that plum-sized tumor in her head that they cut out, the doctor said when he goes in to cut that part out and took that out, your brain rewires itself.
That's crazy.
There are pieces, if you were to
Yeah.
think about like a plug on a wall,
Mhm.
you unplug that wall. Now the Christmas lights have come undone. That wire end will just plug in somewhere else, and then the lights will come back on.
It's an amazing thing.
They told us there was a possibility because the surgery was on one side of her head
Those are called dendrites, by the way.
that the
Yeah.
other side of her body would most likely not work.
Right.
So as they said that, she reaches up and she scratches her nose with her hand and she wiggled the toe on the same side of her body. And the nurse
That
looked
she
at her and
wasn't
said,
supposed to use.
"Never mind, we're good." Because they were going to test it anyway, but she was sleeping.
Yeah.
They're like, "We'll come back. We're going to do a whole bunch of tests." Well, she reached right up and scratched her nose and wiggled a toe. And she goes, "I don't think we need to worry about that." And that was
That's awesome.
And then the next day she was walking. So we're in the room and they brought in these nurses. They said, would you like to take, because she's like, "I want to take a walk." And they're like, "We
Mhm.
don't know if you can," because she hasn't been on her feet for like 4 days. So they come in and they're about ready to unplug the UV tree from the wall so that she could walk down the hallway. Well, they had a little truck that she could sit in. They could push her around. Oh, no, she wasn't having that.
Mm.
She jumped out of the bed and just took off out the door. And they're like, "Hold on, honey, I need to unplug this thing." And she was gone.
Kids are all like that, though.
They are. Yeah. Yeah. That was so crazy. But anyway, so that's all. So how did we get there?
I don't know.
There's something
We were
about
going to start reading, but
there's something about the brain. Why?
oh, it's messed up.
Something about the knife.
Yeah,
The knife. That's right. So
okay.
but your brain does rewire itself.
It
So
does.
when Albert Einstein said that person only used 10% of his brain, that's not everybody. You use 100% of your brain 100% of the time, because if you take a knife and stab it into your brain, funny things are going to happen. That guy didn't know what was in there.
Yeah.
He had no idea. He just went to work to do his thing. Crazy headache. He had no clue, because your brain has no feeling.
So, like, going back even further,
yeah,
that's why I was excited to do a podcast, because I had done a podcast in the past, but I wanted to do a podcast that was more ministry focused, and
we're having a blast.
Yep. We're going to keep doing this.
Right.
We would love to have more interaction.
Yeah.
Because it's a conversational podcast. So,
yeah. But if it ends up just being a Bible study, then
we would like to have a conversation that involves more than just Casey and I.
Yeah.
So don't be scared to send in your questions, your comments, stories. Hey, I wish you guys would talk about this more, or this at all.
I want to do segments called Verses Taken Out of Context.
Oh, yeah.
Put back into context.
Yeah.
Some of these verses that people are using to encourage somebody else. And then you go and read it, and if you read 20 verses before and 20 verses forward, you're like,
this is why Calvary Chapel go verse by verse, because when you do it that way, and Aaron said it in our interview with him, you are forced to deal with the whole scripture.
Yeah.
You can't take anything out of context that way when you're reading the whole counsel of God.
Ben Martinez calls that creating a pretext.
Mm-hmm.
He said you take it out of context, now you've made it a pretext, which means it can mean whatever you want it to mean.
Exactly.
So I want to do that.
And people do that. You know, they use verses like weapons.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they're taken out of context as well.
Or you do some really dangerous things. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Right.
Right. Yeah, but you shouldn't jump out of a plane without a parachute.
I was going to say, like, this is not an encouragement to jump off a roof and try to fly. Or
yeah. So,
am weak and bend with thee. Yeah.
All right. So Romans chapter 8, we're going to read 1 through 11. I've got a bunch of notes. I'm sure Nate has quite a few things that he wants to talk about. Let's jump in. There is therefore now no condemnation to those who are in Christ Jesus, who do not walk according to the flesh, but according to the Spirit. For the law of the Spirit of life in Christ Jesus has made me free from the law of sin and death. For what the law could not do, in that it was weak through the flesh, God did by sending his own Son in the likeness of sinful flesh, on account of sin. He condemned sin in the flesh, that the righteous requirement of the law might be fulfilled in us who do not walk according to the flesh, but according to the Spirit. For those who live according to the flesh set their minds on things of the flesh, but those who live according to the Spirit, the things of the Spirit. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Because the carnal mind is enmity against God, for it is not subject to the law of God, nor indeed can be. So then, those who are in the flesh cannot please God. But you are not in the flesh, but in spirit, if indeed the Spirit of God dwells in you. Now, if anyone does not have the Spirit of Christ, he is not his. And if Christ is in you, the body is dead because of sin, but the Spirit is life because of righteousness. But the Spirit of him who raised Jesus from the dead dwells in you. He who raised Christ from the dead will also give life to your mortal bodies through his Spirit who dwells in you.
Wow. So I think it was the last episode where I said that Romans chapter 7 was probably one of the most confusing patches of scripture for me.
Right. Because the will to do, to not do.
Yeah,
right.
just the way that Paul worded it,
Sure.
it was just like, it's like this crazy whiplashy circle kind of concept. You
Yeah.
know, if you keep reading after chapter 7, Romans 8 explains everything
All of
he was
it.
trying to say.
Yep.
You know, we do have that dual nature. We have the flesh nature. We also have the spiritual nature. We have to recognize now there's no more condemnation.
Mm.
If we claim to be Christians of Christ, then we're walking according to the Spirit because we become a new person.
Yep. Yeah, that's why I really love that question by Ben when he brought up how I said you can't break a law that hasn't been written, right? Because we were talking about the ceremonial laws and the law of sin. And then Paul points out, before I knew what covetousness was,
Yeah.
I didn't know.
I just did it.
I just did it, right? After verse 1, we aren't condemned because our new hearts have the desire now to serve God.
Yeah.
Right? So you go from, before Jesus, did you care about service to God?
No way.
No.
I cared about service to myself.
you, right?
Yeah.
So your heart changes,
Mm-hmm.
and for some people, it's immediate,
Yeah.
right? Those people are so weird.
I know.
Right? I will tell you, when I first got saved, I think we've had this conversation 100 times.
You were witnessing that everything.
My goodness.
Yeah.
I just wanted everybody to know who God was. Ricker.
Peter. Caleb.
Yes. Caleb Ricker. He was speaking in Bangor.
Yes.
And he said the same thing that most pastors do say of, where did that flame go? When you get saved, there is that desire where, man, I need to stop living for me. And some people it's immediate, and some people it's time of being in the Word, being in prayer, going to church, being in fellowship, and doing all those things. And then you realize, whoa, I have got a lot of junk I need to get rid of.
Yeah.
Because that Spirit is convicting you. Like, you shouldn't be doing this anymore.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be doing that. Oh, hey, that's a new thing that I wasn't thinking of, but since you just did that thing, that you shouldn't do. That's what Paul said.
Someone
right?
was
The things I should do, I should do, but I don't do the things I should do because I'm warring against myself.
So, perfect example of this. I was talking with somebody the other day, and she mentioned how her and her husband, they like watching scary movies and movies like that. They just kind of watch them. They have fun. But since she's been listening to this podcast, I'm, I'm telling you, man, it's not us. It's not us.
Just can
But
everybody understand that if you are pulling something out of this podcast
Yeah.
that's making you go, okay, I need to stop this.
I think it's
Do
just
not apply that to Nate and I.
well, no, I think it's just the truth
The word.
of Romans.
It's the truth of the word.
I guess the show Wednesday.
No, I know the
It's-
show,
it's,
but I've never
you
seen
know,
it.
They've been watching it, and she just woke up one day and was like, I don't want to watch that kind of stuff anymore. Her husband was kind of thought she was kidding.
Mm.
He's like, no, we're gonna watch it. And she's like, no, I really don't
I'm
want to
really
watch
not
it.
going to.
I feel like God doesn't want me to watch this anymore. And it's like when your heart and your mind start to change, it's that process of being made clean, right? It's the sanctification process, right?
Are you reading my note from over there?
I'm not.
somehow?
I'm not, but what you just said, that's exactly a real life scenario that
Yeah.
describes what you were just talking about.
So after verse 2, my note is there is a law of sin and death, right? But the new covenant in Jesus just sets us free.
Yeah.
So she was having some kind of a freeing moment.
And the thing is, the Holy Spirit, he changes our desires. When you're praying to be in God's will, you're praying to be used, you're basically asking to be conformed to his will, not yours anymore, right? And the closer we get to God, the more hopefully we're seeing things the same way that God does. We're supposed to hate the things that God hates and love the things that he loves. And I'm not saying I'm perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I probably watch shows that I shouldn't. I'm not saying that I'm holier than thou or anything like that. But Romans does deal with we're gonna get there, but it deals a lot with your personal convictions on certain things. And I think God speaks to us all differently at different times in our lives when he puts his finger on something and says that has to go. Like, what that is.
Right.
Everyone listening to me, without me saying it, because I'm not a psychic, I don't know, but God knows, and so do you.
Right.
And that thing needs to go. It takes time, and it takes a lot of conversation between you and the Lord. I will say, if you know that there's a thing and it's
Aaron said that in the
if you know there's a thing and it's keeping you separated, Aaron did say
Aaron said it.
Yeah.
Aaron at 10:30, somewhere in there, he said,
you got to confess your faults
you've
before
got to confess your faults. So
and get it out, get it out there in the open, get it prayed about.
Yep.
And then get somebody in on it with you to keep you accountable.
It was Calvary Chapel. We were having a men's Bible study at the church, and there was quite a few of us getting together, maybe 10 of us, I think. Well, one of the guys finally stood up and he was talking, and he looked at every single guy. He goes, I think I have all of your cell phone numbers. You are in the process of thinking that you're going to act on your sin. Text me.
Yeah.
And I was just like, and for me, I was like, wow, I've never heard somebody say
that real and raw before.
Right. Because we were just all dudes and we were all adults.
Yeah.
And he just stood up and said, I don't care. I'm going to say it. And we were all pretty silent for a moment. But we were also like, that's a friend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You call upon a brother and say, look, I know that I'm going to be going through a thing, so I just need you to be praying for me.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's one of those things where it's an interesting facet of Christianity because we enter eternity alone. We answer for our own actions alone. But while we're here, we are supposed to do life with our brothers and sisters.
Right. Like a family.
We're supposed to hold each other accountable. So that way there isn't too much of that alone time.
Right.
And inner struggle, because you always have accountability.
Yeah. Part of me, I do wonder, how many of those missed moments did I have? There are times when I think about missed moments and I'm like, man, I wonder, is that something we're going to have a conversation about, the Lord and I? You missed an opportunity here. But I know there's that well done, good and faithful servant, right?
we're still going to be judged on the things that we did and didn't do,
Right.
and the motives that we did them in.
Yep.
Honestly, Casey, here's the one that's really going to kill us: is when we're watching the Great White Throne Judgment,
Mm-hmm.
and we see all of our friends and
That
family
we
members
didn't talk to.
that, like, maybe some of our actions didn't help them get into the other line,
Right.
and that is going to be horrifying.
Mm-hmm.
And it's no wonder God has to wipe every tear from
Mm-hmm.
our eyes,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because regret is,
It's going to be real.
it's so real.
Yeah. Ooh, that got deep.
Not that we're condemned,
No,
but
absolutely not.
but you know, sometimes conviction feels like condemnation.
Yep.
I think conviction can turn into it. If you're convicted about something and you don't take the right action, it can lead you to feeling condemned because you're a loser and you never do the right thing and I wasn't brave enough and da da da.
Let's make it even more real.
Sure.
When is the one time that comes into play? In real life, what one event makes people realize their regret?
The one event.
Mm-hmm. A funeral.
Mm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I should have told them I loved them one more time.
Yeah.
Right? Sure.
Things left unsaid.
But did you tell them who Jesus was?
Yeah.
Did you tell them who Jesus was? Did they know that you were a believer? Because we know you don't have to go around beating them over the head. They can see Jesus in us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or not.
Yeah. Ooh. Ow.
That comes right back on me too. So don't.
Well,
I'm not throwing stones.
Even Pastor Aaron has days when he's not behaving pastorally.
Right.
So thankfully, he has the recognition in our community, so he's never really off the hook.
Right.
Thankfully, he has that, and that is some of the best accountability you can get. He's like everybody else.
Yep.
We go through these phases where we're doing really well. I mean, we think
we're doing okay.
We think we're doing really well. Like, that issue that we've always struggled with hasn't been a problem for a while.
Right.
And, you know, we feel like God's using us, and we had a good conversation with somebody. You know, we got to talk about God with somebody. And then we have these moments where it's like you're cursing the ground you walk on.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody is the enemy, and everybody needs to just like die.
Right.
It goes from like everything's great to like I'm gonna nuke everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with my
I think Aaron said
with
that
my
this morning
heart,
too.
with my thoughts.
Yeah.
We all go through that.
Yeah.
But thankfully, like when Jesus died and rose again, like he didn't just die for all the sins leading up to when we get saved.
Mm-hmm.
He knows about all the sins we're gonna do, you know, after that and in the future, stuff that we don't even know about yet. He died for all those sins too.
I was talking to my buddy. He had a horrible situation happen. He's on the force, right? And one of his force brothers died. Had a heart attack or stroke or some event, and they had him on life support. It wasn't going to save him,
Right.
And so he ended up passing away. And so he said to me that he was feeling a huge bout of depression because he'd been talking to him, but he's like I don't know if he accepted the Lord. So he's just like, is there one other thing I could have said? Is there something I could have done? And I said, bro, we all have that.
Yeah.
And so I got really, really real with him about listening to Aaron's interview that we did, because I asked the questions that you said that only I could ask because of losing a child, and I said, we got really raw in that conversation. You'll always have that. Why didn't I say something? When my grandfather was on his deathbed, I didn't talk to him, but he couldn't hear.
Yeah.
He couldn't see me. He didn't even know I was in the room. He couldn't hear my voice. And I was a young Christian at the time, too. I wasn't bold enough to just, hey, you need to search for Jesus right now.
So I have something that may or may not provide a little bit of comfort to that question. With a little bit of I don't know how to word it. I'm not considering anyone's feelings when I say this.
Right.
We're talking raw here. Okay. Are you the only person responsible for getting the gospel out to your loved one before they died?
Good point.
Is it all on you?
No.
All I'm
I
saying,
feel like it was.
all I'm saying is we add a lot of guilt onto ourselves without considering the fact that God is in control.
Mm,
And
absolutely.
you're not the only person that has access to that person's life.
Mm,
And I've been listening to podcasts lately about what's happening in the Middle East
mhm.
with all the Muslims out there in countries where the gospel is not allowed to go. Jesus is coming to people in their dreams and in their rooms.
It's true.
He's
I've
like
heard of
appearing in
this.
front of them.
Yep.
And Muslims are getting saved by the hundreds and thousands
Yep.
and getting persecuted and martyred right now.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm just saying,
Yeah, they did not get visited by a pastor.
right. I'm just saying we put ourselves through that guilt when somebody passes away and we go through all of those, could I have said this and should I have said that? And some of that is probably legitimate. But
Right.
at the same time, like don't count God out either in this whole thing. He's way more on top of it than we were, than we are. He's sovereign. He knows how to get to somebody without us even being involved.
Mm,
I don't know if that's a comfort.
right.
It's not letting anybody off the hook. We need to do way better with that kind of thing. It's like what I said before. We're going to have regrets. At the end of all things, we're going to be filled with so much regret, from all the missed opportunities. That's what it is. It's the missed opportunities that we let go.
Yeah.
So there is some of that. That is legitimate, but I also, like I said, I don't want us to count out the fact that God is sovereign. Everyone is going to have to answer for what they knew about God in the end. So it's not just my responsibility to make sure Grandpa Joe gets saved.
Right. It's funny. Grandpa Joe.
Well, he's really my grandfather.
He was
really
my
was Joe.
grandfather.
There's so many other people that they have contact with than just me.
Man, we really dove into that.
This is going to be multiple podcasts, I
Yeah.
think, for chapter 8.
I didn't know
We
didn't even know we were going to go.
We're only
there,
in
so.
Romans 8:1.
Well, I mean, I got past verse 2.
Yeah.
A note that I have on 3 and 4, so I'll read it again. For what the law could not do, and that it was weak through the flesh, God did by sending his own Son in the likeness of sinful flesh on account of sin. And he condemned sin in the flesh, that the righteous requirement of the law might be fulfilled in us who do not walk according to the flesh, but according to the Spirit. So our righteousness is not on us.
Right.
We can't obtain it because that would be of works, right?
Yes.
So it's not of works.
It would imply that there was a debt that he owed us.
Exactly. And it is, however, the work of Jesus and can only be fulfilled by him. And our belief is the only work that could ever be done as our reasonable service now to love.
What I like about those verses is in verse 3, it says, God did by sending his own Son in the likeness of sinful flesh. So he was born a man,
right,
but without sin.
But
he had the likeness of a man. Men were filled with sin right from the start, but he was born in the likeness of, not in the fullness of.
Right. I do wonder because, man, so he looked like a man.
Because he was one.
But
he was also God, fully man.
But think about this. What does everybody always say? It seems like they always say, I hate using the word always because always and never you should never say. So when you talk to someone about Jesus, right, and they go, well, how come he doesn't show up now? If he show up now, I believe him. Jesus showed up as a man, and because he showed up as a man and didn't take Rome down a few notches, they didn't believe him.
Right. He already did it. He did it once. Like, he doesn't have to keep proving himself over and over again. He did it once.
Yeah.
That was the plan.
I was just thinking about that. Like, he showed up in the likeness of man, and I wonder,
well,
did people go, well,
God
showed up like a man?
Hold on. We're gonna go.
He's going on a dive.
Okay, we're gonna read it. John chapter 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. For all you Mormons out there, all things were made through him, and without him nothing was made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not comprehend it. There was a man sent from God whose name was John. This man came for a witness to bear witness of the light, that all through him might believe. He was not that light, but was sent to bear witness of that light. So a reiteration.
Right.
That was the true light, which gives light to every man coming into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made through him, and the world did not know him. He came to his own, and his own did not receive him. But as many as received him, to them he gave the right to become children of God, to those who believe in his name, who were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor the will of man, but of God. So Jesus did come to this earth. He did present himself as God. His own people rejected him.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have anything to prove to you, whoever
Whoever you are. Yep.
He did that
But why
already.
did he just show up? If he showed up, I'd believe.
It's not true,
It's not
because
true.
the religious leaders of the time, they were the religious leaders / government officials, they saw all the miracles Jesus was doing, and then they would ask him for a sign,
And then they would even say,
and they would say,
how many of them said, no one can do this unless God was with them? But he does it to Beelzebub.
yeah, in
Well,
secret they were saying he has to be from God because he's doing miracles. But then out in the open, they would say, yeah, he's
full of the
working with
devil.
Satan. So Jesus did that. He came here. He proved it. We didn't believe him. He went back to heaven. Now we just have eyewitness testimony and his own words that were written for us. And we need to choose to believe that or not. Boom. Period. Done. Okay, back to Romans.
Verse 5. For those who live according to the flesh set their minds on the things of the flesh, but those who live according to the Spirit, the things of the Spirit. Carnal thoughts. What about me, my stomach, my fluids, my clothes?
Mm-hmm.
Carnal minds end in death.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
So
even
there's
even
a distinction
people,
though between carnal doesn't mean bad. It doesn't
No.
mean evil. It doesn't mean sinful. It just
Right.
means you're thinking of the horizontal,
right,
like the things that pertain to living life on earth,
right, and that's all that exists.
like food, clothing, shelter, vehicle, paying your bills, getting Christmas
and you got to do
presents.
that. I mean,
You have to do that.
those things you got to do.
Right.
But
when you're
people, but that's all there is.
But then, for people who that's all there is,
well, then that's all there is.
the end is death.
Yeah, that's it.
There's nothing vertical about that kind of lifestyle.
Right. You're not thinking about where all those things come from.
Right.
You just know that it's putting it on you and it's taking care of you. Yeah, I definitely don't want people thinking that carnal means sin. We could change the word to not so much even just selfishness either. It's just that horizontal. I think you're right. That's a good way to say it. You're not thinking vertically.
Right. God's not in your
not in it.
He's not in your plan for life.
Yeah. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. When you become a child of God, your mind moves to life and eternity. We think of the will of God over self.
Yeah.
You know,
the thoughts that you have tend to be a lot more based on what do I need to do to make God happy?
Right. Or you start thinking, ooh, where is God moving me to? What is he moving me into? What is it that he's calling me to do? I need to search this out. You start praying more. You start reading more. You start connecting with people that think the same way you do to try to just figure things out. I mean,
I have to say, I have a coworker who we had another one of those days where she plugged me full of questions about God and Christianity and how does it work with AA and all that. We got to talking and she asked me, if somebody who was brand new to the Bible and stuff was to ask you, where do I start reading? Where do I start in the Bible? I want to read it. What would you answer them? And my first answer was, when you go to a bookstore and you buy a new book, where do you start? Well, in the beginning. And I said, right. She goes, well, I got Genesis down. I know Genesis. I grew up with. And I said, I don't think you know Genesis as good as you think you do. I said, honestly, if you start out with Genesis, you get all of the pictures that God is trying to send us about Jesus in all the different scenarios. There's a lot of illustrations of Jesus in Genesis and God's plan for the Israelites and for the rest of the world, really. But I said, to make it even easier, start out with one of the Gospels, like the book of John. Book of John is probably the best gospel to start with. She goes, well, I need something where I know that if I read something one morning and I don't get back to it, I can pick up where I left off, and I feel like I'm not losing out on anything. I said, I can get you a 1 year Bible. You just read the date.
Right.
You read whatever the date says. And it takes, depending on how fast you read, 10, 15 minutes. You just get some reading in.
You could even read the first part first thing in the morning, second part in the afternoon, at lunch, third part just before you have dinner, and then the last part before you go to bed.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So
that's a shot out there for
so
anyone.
I called up Paul and I said, I need a 1 year Bible. You got one? He goes, uh-huh. We brought it with him on Wednesday, and I gave it to her on Thursday.
There you go.
It's fun. That's where my witness is at right now.
Yeah.
It's not the evangelistic type. It's just the living life type. Yeah. So anyway,
that's good stuff, though.
Yeah.
I mean, because when someone says, "Oh, where should I start?" Oh, you should start in John chapter 1, whatever. I a lot of times will tell people to start reading in Luke, and people say, "Why Luke?" I say, "Because he was an interviewer." Right? I mean, he went out and talked to people. He didn't have an eyewitness account.
Yeah.
He wasn't there. So what did he do? He went
interviewed.
around to the people that were there.
Well, I like John because when people are just, learning about God and learning about the Bible and learning about Jesus, they're like, who is Jesus? And it just so happens that John happens to answer all those questions.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of I am statements. So Jesus tells you who he is. He reveals himself very clearly.
I'm very scientific, methodical.
Yeah.
So Luke really, really helped me.
Yeah, Luke.
To just kind of like, okay, here we go. We're going through this process. And for me, I mean, that's like, he really broke that down.
I think he really, his focus on his gospel is showing us the humanity of Jesus too.
Yep.
Like just to show us that Jesus experienced things the same way that we did.
Right.
He was able to navigate his way around without sinning. So not only was he was like us in the sense that the temptations came, but he showed us how to be victorious in those areas, which is awesome.
Yeah.
In the way that you're victorious is you use the script word of God, and he prayed a lot. He took time to spend time with his Father. That's the winning combo.
He went away
right there.
to be by himself. Yep.
Where'd we leave off?
Verse 6, around 7. Because the carnal mind is enmity against God, for it is not subject to the law of God, nor indeed can be. So then, those who are in the flesh cannot please God. So if we really want to have the desires of God's will, we must fight the flesh. The flesh is always in rebellion.
And that's what Paul was going on about in chapter 7.
Chapter 7. These are the things I want to do, but these are the things I don't do. And these are the things I don't want to do, but those are the things I do.
Yeah. It's that dual nature, and you can't be free of it on this side of eternity.
Yeah, it's funny how it does contrast between 6 and 8. Carnally minded being death, spiritual minded peace. The carnal mind is enmity. So those who are in the flesh can't please God, and then, so yeah, it really kind of bookend really well. If you're living your life and you're like, man, I just don't feel like I'm really pleasing God, well, stop doing the things that are making you feel like you're not pleasing God and start focusing on what his will is, I mean, because when you first start out, we do that, right? Now we need to find out what the will of God is for your life. Start with worship. Right? I mean, he's not asking for you to win 5,000 people in your first day of being saved. He wants you to start out as that child, working their way through learning. Start with a little bit of worship.
Yeah.
Get your mind in the worship area.
Well, I think the first thing we need to do is learn who God is. Learn who Jesus is.
Yep.
You have to start off with that, the milk.
Yeah.
You have to come to love who God is. When you first get saved, you're basically introduced to the fact that you're a sinner.
Yeah.
And you can't get out of that problem. And there was somebody that stood in your place and took your punishment, and they made a way for you to be free of it and live forever. I mean, that's a good deal. But then step 2 is let's learn who God is, learn what his expectations are for me. It's a process. You don't just start right in quoting theology.
Right.
You don't know theology yet. It's good if you get to know like all the major players first.
Yeah.
And figure out how this whole thing works.
The Spirit living in us helps us to fight the flesh.
Mm.
When we hold the flesh captive, we can much more easily live out what Christ has for us.
All right, so let's
And that's
make
from
that
verse 9.
let's make that practical, because for the average person,
Right.
what does that even mean?
Right.
How do I hold my flesh captive?
Right. Right.
Well, isn't that the question?
Yeah, that is the question.
The age-old question.
2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 3, for we walk in the flesh, we do not war according to the flesh, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty in God for pulling down strongholds, casting down arguments, and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, bringing every thought into captivity to the obedience of Christ, and being ready to punish all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled. So the question comes, how do you put your flesh in captivity? A lot of times when I've thought about it, you talked about when you were a new Christian and the saints would be safe or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're just like, oh my gosh. When I was a new-ish Christian, I literally thought about it like something would pop into my head, and I would immediately just stop what I was doing and say to the Lord, Lord, I cannot be thinking about that right now. I can't have that thought in my mind. I need you to be that thought in my mind. So I need to have this thing put in a cage and shipped away. Because you think about it, like when people go on safaris or whatever, I just did quotations, no one can see that, and they capture an animal, they put it in a wooden crate, they put it on a ship, and it's gone, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I always pictured my flesh, was I had to picture doing it. I wasn't just praying that God would take that from me. I was metaphorically putting that in a sealed case and putting it on the Jesus ship and saying, you can have that, I can't have that. Is that weird?
No. No, I think that's
So
I think that's what you're supposed to.
I had to picture it.
The flesh. No, I everything I do, I see in my head as pictures. Like,
Okay.
I don't know how other people. I always thought that that's how people think.
Okay.
Because I see.
So I'm not the only one.
I have an internal movie going on in my head.
Right.
Right. I don't know how to explain it, but when I'm describing concepts to people, I'm seeing something. I'm seeing something in my head happening.
Yeah, but that's how I whenever someone would say you have to
even
put
when
it in
I'm
captivity, I'm like, captivity? That's a wooden crate. That's a steel cage. It can't get out.
Or like a
yeah. Straight jacket.
Straight jacket. Wrapping up the old man.
That's
putting it in a steamer trunk and locking it up.
I couldn't just say, "Oh Lord, I need you to take this away from me right now because I can't handle it." I had to picture putting it in something and then handing it off.
Yeah. Well, for me, like, I always use this as an example when I'm talking to people. When you're talking about your past, you know how some people are just stuck in the past. They're so focused on what was back then that they stumble and they mess up and they can't seem to quite get it together in the present. And I said, think of it this way. When you're walking down the sidewalk and you got your head cranked over your shoulder and you're looking behind you, is it easy to walk forward without like hitting something or knowing what's in front of you? That's what a lot of people do in life. They're trying to walk forward, staring at the past and expecting to avoid all the problems and stuff that comes at them. They're not even paying attention to what's coming at them because they're so stuck back there.
Yep.
That's how I describe concepts. It's a lot like Jesus did with his parables. The more I've read Jesus's parables, the more I think that's how Jesus thought too. He saw things like that in his mind. But that's kind of how I try to describe concepts with people, you know? Like when I talk about at work how case management and treatment, we're on the same team. We have the same goal for you in our program. We're guardrails on the road. I'm on this side, they're on that side. You got the whole road to go back and forth on, but you're going to smack up against us if you try to get too far. But you're going to be safest if you stay on the lane you're supposed to stay in and you follow those rules, the rules of the road, aka life. You know, you won't have as many problems if you just figure out what we're trying to tell you and do it that way.
Yeah, I said something the other day to my kids. We do a little girl's devotion every night. I read one night, my wife reads another night. There was this one devotion that was talking about the realness of the Word of God and how alive it was. And I stopped and I said, this is going to sound really stupid. I said, but this is something that I wrote down in a Bible years and years ago. Bible, basic instructions before leaving Earth. And all three of my girls looked at me and went, whoa, because it's alive and it teaches us. And I went, oh my gosh, okay, that didn't just go out the window. If it is an instruction manual on how to live here, and your flesh and your carnality is driving you to a place where you're just trapped in it all the time, then you have to stop and think about it like this. What's the most dangerous animal that you can think of?
The most dangerous?
The most dangerous animal that's alive today. Think whatever it might be for you, but think about, and I'm talking about anyone who's listening, think about the most dangerous animal that you can think of. I mean, for me, it would be a gorilla. I'm sorry, I don't care what anybody says about lions, tigers, and bears. There's probably like insta death. But when it comes to just terrifying, I don't want to be anywhere near this animal, gorillas, they're going to kill you slow. They're going to rip your arms off and beat you with it. You're going to feel every single bump and bruise.
Not to mention the 4-inch fangs that are going to go in you. I would say a hippo. A hippo or a grizzly would probably be, to me, like, with a gorilla, if you posture yourself the right way,
they may
99% of the time, they'll
think about
they'll bluff you, but they'll leave you alone.
Right. Hippo won't.
Hippo is like, you're dead.
You're dead, no matter what.
I don't know who you are.
They're terrible. Yeah. Anyway, so think about your sin, your carnality, your flesh as a hippopotamus that has gnarly, weird-looking teeth that with one bite is just going to rip you open and it's going to drag you under the water. You don't want to just shoot it with a rifle because you're probably just going to make it mad, right?
Depends
on... And you don't want to shoot it with the sleeping dart because when it wakes up, it's going to be really mad.
Well, that's assuming you're going to be hanging around.
What kind?
I don't want to blow a hole in
your... What kind of... no, and I get that. But what kind of a canister would you need to launch? Okay.
Oh,
that is a huge animal.
Yeah.
Your flesh is not a controllable animal.
No. And James talks about it.
Right.
He talks about, just the tongue. Just our tongue.
Just the tongue.
Our tongue can kill people.
Yeah. So yeah, if you find yourself in that place, then I challenge you to picture it. Picture that you're putting it in a place. And if you're a lady, go to a sister that you can trust. If you're a guy, go to a brother you can trust, and just say, "Look, I'm done." That's what Aaron said this morning. Just literally say, "I'm done. I'm done with this. I can't do this anymore." And I'm struggling to do it by myself because you're trying to do it by yourself.
Yeah.
And that's dumb. Doing anything by yourself, you can say all you want that you're including the Lord in it. But if you're struggling in it, are you?
Well, Jesus, in his ministry, he sent out all of his disciples on their first mission, right? And he sent them all out in pairs. And he did that for a reason.
Right.
Or accountability. Yep. So, it's not necessarily about how strong you are. Strong you think you are.
Right.
It's a good ministry to have somebody alongside of you.
And if Christ is in you, the body is dead because of sin, but the spirit is life because of righteousness. But if the spirit of him who raises Jesus from the dead dwells in you, he who raised Christ from the dead will also give life to your mortal bodies through his spirit who dwells in you. That's verses 10 and 11. That resurrection life of Christ and the Holy Spirit giving us the new glorious outlook and purpose. And that has to be part of the fight.
Yeah.
You do have to tell yourself, when Daniel got baptized, Will said the attacks are going to come, and you need to tell Daniel you are a child of God. So tell yourself that. Tell yourself that, right? Say, I am a child of God. If you're going into a direction, if you're turning into a street in your brain, and that's the wrong street, you're on the wrong side of the road, like you just said, you're looking over your shoulder, you need to tell yourself, I am a child of God.
Mm,
We may not feel like it sometimes,
definitely not.
right?
Yeah.
You may feel like you've failed at every turn. You may
Yeah.
feel those regrets and those depressions.
Yep.
And the things that are coming to attack all the time, because it's going to happen all the time.
And you start God can't use me anymore.
Yeah,
Because
I've done this too many
I
times.
did this, and I
Yep.
keep doing this, and
Now I'm getting older.
yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I think we stop here.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And I
We're
think
only going to 11, guys.
I think we go on to some fun things.
So Daniel was the one that brought this up this morning. We were driving here to church right at the corner, and there's this deer in the yard across from us. Good size doe, really pretty. So Daniel goes, "Hey, you should tell them about the couple of accidents." So I was like, I guess I should do that because we talked about your carport taking off, and someone thought that was really funny. This was a couple winters ago, living in Surrey. I had Daniel in the passenger seat of the car, and it had snowed and there was ice everywhere all over our driveway. Our driveway slanted at a pretty good decline down to the garage. I was driving a 5-speed Ford Focus. Love that thing. Anyhow, so driving along, and I thought in my head, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go into the driveway really fast.
Oh, no.
I'm not even going to put the brake on. I'm just going to drive into the driveway really fast because I know the top part of the driveway is all dirt. It's about halfway that the ice hits. So I thought, once my front wheels hit the ice, I'll pull the emergency brake, and that'll make the car turn sideways or do a loopy loop, and I'll just park the car. So I'm going in at a pretty good clip, and I mean, I really whipped that thing into the driveway, and I hit the emergency brake, and oh no, we don't even get to the nothing happened because all 4 wheels were already on the ice because the ice was up further than I realized.
Oh no.
And so we're just kind of coasting along, and I nonchalantly turn my head to the right and I go, "Brace yourself." And he goes, "What?" And I said, "Brace yourself. We're hitting the garage." He goes, "Yeah, right." I said, "We're hitting the garage." Well, there was this ice dam in front of the garage, about a foot, maybe or two from the front door. So I'm not even going toward the garage door where the car's supposed to go in. We never used it for that anyway. I'm going for the people door.
Oh no.
Okay. And we hit that ice dam. And now the ice dam was a lot bigger than I thought too. So this ice dam was about, I'm going to say it was probably about a good 6 inches off the ground. You know what I'm talking about? Like it was like a speed bump from hell. So anyway, so we hit this thing, and literally all I saw was sky.
Oh.
I mean, at this point I'm like, oh, this is way worse than I thought it was going to be. Because when I saw the ice dam, I'm like, oh, we'll just hit the ice dam. I'll go over that a little bit. No big deal. Oh yeah, no, the car went up, and I hit the garage with such a force that the front door popped off. The bottom part of the frame of the garage bent in, and the side frame also bent in. Oh, it was bad. So my wife comes out, and I've got the car in reverse, and because I'm hung up because my car's not that far off the ground. So I'm just I'm not going anywhere. She comes out and she goes, "What did you do?" And I'm smart. I hit the garage. So I call my friend Jason, and Jason Kane comes over with his truck, and he sees it and he goes, "Wow, your car's really far off the ground." I said, "Yeah, but look at the garage." And he goes, "Oh, that's not good." And so he puts a chain on the bottom of the car, pulls me out, and but he didn't damage anything, which is amazing.
Not the car.
Well, the front end had it needed some cosmetic work. So about a week, so Thanksgiving, I'm driving to the Jackson Laboratory to do a mouse check. I didn't even get a mile from the house, and these deer are crossing the road, and I stopped, and I thought, oh, good, they're all done, and one deer stopped. So usually when they stop like that, you go and they walk, or no, he jetted out right at that moment. Smash! My car stopped, just turned off. I didn't know what was going on. There's a safety switch in there that, collision, whatever, you wait a little bit and you can start it back up and go. Well, it worked for the mechanic, not for me. But I hit the deer, called my friend Jason. He came and shot the deer, and I get some backstrap. But that's the good thing that came out of that. But I did pop the fog light on the bottom, was like sideways, and there was a dent on the hood of the car. It looked like someone sat on it. So I took some like zip ties and stuff, and I attached it through the bumper and then underneath, and snapped all these little pieces together, and went for an inspection after that. The mechanic's like, it's not falling apart. He said, what you did isn't wrong. And they inspected the car and everything was good to go.
Blinkers still work.
Everything worked. Everything was fine. But yeah, hit a garage first and then hit a deer.
All right.
All because all I wanted to do was scare Daniel. So this is a number of years ago now. That's all I wanted to do. I was just like, man, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to scare Daniel. I'm going to spin the car in the driveway, and this will be hilarious. I'm just thinking, like, I was expecting a Daniel to be like, no, what are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
And instead I was like, brace yourself. And literally he looks at me and goes, yeah, right. I'm like, my bro, we're hitting the garage.
I have a story very similar to that. I don't know if John remembers this, but he was with me. But
see what our flesh does. Anyway,
we were in this house in Levant. We were living in Levant at the time, and we had this old white ranch house, and then a separate garage. And I had my little black Ford Ranger. I had to drive somewhere to pick up John. So he gets in the truck, and I'm driving him home, and his head's like on the window. And I was
gosh.
And I was like, I said, I'm gonna mess with him. So we're driving along, and all of a sudden I slammed the brakes on, and we were like, we came to a stop, and he's like, whoa. He's like, whoa. He goes, what happened? And I said, nothing. I'm just messing with you, John. So like we get going again, and he starts to kind of let his guard down. I did it again. I did it a couple more times. Major squawking. So then I pull onto our road, and I'm coming down, and I did it one more time. He was like, I can't remember exactly what. It wasn't good words. I wasn't allowing him to just sleep it off. And I turned the blinker on. We're pulling into the driveway, and I go to step on the brake to stop where I usually park in front of the garage, and my truck didn't stop. And I looked over at John, and I said, hold on. We had a double door garage, and
the doors weren't open.
And I hit that space in between both of the doors.
Oh no.
And it got right on the corner of my bumper. I had an actual metal bumper back in those days.
Mm.
I wasn't going fast in the driveway that fast because I had a manual myself. But we hit the middle of the garage, and it stopped the truck, and then it bounced us back 3 or 4 feet. And I looked over at my brother, and I was just like, that could have been really bad.
We bounced.
So then when I got out of the truck, the edge of the bumper was pushed right back into the body, That was all the damage I got from it, but it's very similar. My stepfather heard me squawking my tires and stuff. He goes, tires and brakes only last for so long when you abuse them like that.
And
I said, yeah, well, I don't have any brakes anymore, so guess I'll have to go get those fixed.
I was looking for a video of the garage being knocked down. Me hitting the garage didn't make it worse. It was already really, really bad. It wasn't like the roof had fallen in, the windows were broken.
Whoa. Were you tearing it down?
Yeah. But that's the side I hit right there.
Oh yeah. My goodness, your kids were even smaller back then.
This couldn't have been any more exciting for them.
Well, yeah. It's not every day you see a building come down. I dropped you off at that house once, didn't I? Didn't I take you home one night?
You might have.
In Surrey.
Because we stopped to see Will.
Yeah. Oh my word.
That's the end result.
Oh yeah. Well, that looks like a building been torn down.
It was pretty fun.
So let's talk about merchandise ideas.
Merchandise ideas. My wife is right now already making Spotify and Apple Podcast stickers.
QR code
QR
stickers.
code stickers.
She showed those to me.
So if anybody would like to have some stickers to place in places, let us know.
Cool. Or
Or
if you order something,
Mhm.
we could just add that.
and just add a sticker
Just
to
throw
it.
a sticker in
Yep.
with every order.
Oh, yes, on my phone.
You posted it on the Facebook page.
Oh, did I do that?
I think so.
Amanda might have. But yeah, if you tell us what kind of phone you're using. But yeah, if you'd like to have our podcast emblem on your phone, we can do that. Mugs, tumblers, t-shirts, hats.
I'd like to
She really hates doing
talk to
hats.
Coastal Crowns and see if they'll do a collab with us. And it is winter, so beanies with our logo on them.
There's a ton of different things we can do. I mean, even so with the QR code stickers, she can even do TMD-er stickers with the lobster boat mouse pads.
We
can do mouse
can
pads.
do mouse pads now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've done 2 of those now.
What else we got going on? 5-star reviews. We need
Yeah,
those.
you guys, we originally, when we first started doing this, we said we don't care about the likes and the hearts and the 5-star ratings and comments. We're like, yeah, you don't have to do that. This is actually starting to grow. This is how it works. If you like a podcast, share a podcast, or give a rating of a podcast, even commenting on a podcast.
Yeah.
If there are people out there that listen to the same kind of things that you listen to, if you give likes and comments and hearts and blah, 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 the people that like the same kind of content that you're listening to will also see that podcast.
Yeah.
They may only listen to one episode, but then it ends up being in an algorithm, and then other people can see it. It becomes visible. That's what we use.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
I mean, we're not in for it for the likes and the comments and all these other things, but we're just trying to get the word of God out there.
Yeah, and I mean, I think for the most part, I think I said it earlier. We want this to be as organic as possible. It's awesome when it's word of mouth, and there's only so many people I can share this link with,
right?
That I haven't already.
Yep.
If you're listening and you're enjoying this, and you know somebody who you think would also like it, or you're just excited to be listening to a new podcast and you want to share it with your friends, share it with your friends and tell us where you're listening from. We get some data from the creator pages. A lot of it's still pretty super generic. Like it'll say you're listening from the United States or something like that. Let us know where you're from and how you heard about us, and don't be afraid to give us a 5-star rating. Helps us to get noticed more. If you don't want to do that, that's fine too. I mean, it's not killing me that we only have 4 or 5-star ratings on Spotify, but Spotify is a pretty universal platform, so people are already starting to come across our podcast and trying us out. I saw one that was only for like 12 seconds. I think they listened to the song and they're like, yeah, nope, I don't.
Yeah, I'm not into that. Yeah, just share it. You don't have to comment, but just give us a 5-star rating because we asked you to. No, but ratings do help, and the hearts and the follows, those really do help. And not only that, it'll help you because then you'll get a notification that the next episode is up. The church website, just so everybody knows, doesn't get uploaded until Sunday.
Yeah,
because that's when everybody's in. So my wife gets it on the other sites on Friday morning.
right.
And then it's still Saturday and Sunday until that's up on the church website. So you're getting it a complete week afterward, whereas the other ones are getting it within 5 days.
Yeah.
So it's something to think about.
Yeah. Is that it?
I think that's it. It's winter.
It's winter.
Well, no, it's not winter yet, really.
Well, not technically.
But the 21st
Yeah.
is winter.
Yeah.
But it snowed
It did.
a couple of times.
Yeah.
We have nothing in Jonesport.
No.
No.
We have like a little.
We had ice, and then it went away.
We have a layer of snowy, icy stuff in our yard.
Did I tell you?
No.
On the way here, I lost control of my car.
Oh no.
Yeah, I drove off the pavement.
You did?
Well, I couldn't see. The sun was coming over the trees,
no.
and it was glaring off the ice on the road.
Oh, that's
so
what you were talking about.
And then I just happened to hit just the edge of the pavement.
It bounced you back in?
Oh, no, it bounced me out.
Oh.
Going the wrong way, so I turned my tires, and then I tried to get up over the ridge of the pavement with my passenger wheels. That jetted me across the other side of the road.
Oh,
But there was nobody coming.
that's good.
Yeah. So I was able to recover. Yeah, that's it.
So last night was kind of a full night. We had a little light snow going, and at 6 o'clock, the Machias had a Christmas parade.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We didn't go to that.
We watch it all from my house.
Yeah. It goes that way.
It goes right past my house.
Yeah.
Well, it ends up in the pharmacy right next to the house.
So you get to sit right there and just
And then
watch the end of it.
Yeah, and then at 8 o'clock, they had fireworks. We watched it from our windows. We didn't even have to go outside. We saw the whole thing. There were no leaves on the trees, so we could just look straight through. So we watched all the fireworks from our windows. It was awesome.
Saturday, my wife and I went to the marriage conference.
Yep.
And that was a blast. They had food for us.
Mm-hmm.
And I went right up to Aaron and I said, hey, my wife and I don't have kids. And I'm going to take my wife out to lunch. And he looked right at me and just genuine smile on his face and said, you should do that. You know, not like, hey, I'm kicking you out of here. But I was just like, man, you know what? I want to go hang out with my wife by myself, just her and I.
You must not get that opportunity very often.
Well, we live all the way up here now, and all of our family lives all the way down in the Ellsworth area mostly. But with my mom up here, and she took kids, but we had to drive them to Denny'sville, then come back here, then go back to Denny'sville, and then go back to Jonesport.
Yeah.
Did you do your tree yesterday?
Yeah. So
we had John's kids.
We started out with my brother John. He had 2 of his kids got dropped off, and we made pancakes and bacon, and we watched Home Alone.
Oh.
And then I helped my wife get the tree inside the house and put it on the stand, and then we started trying to do the lights, and we realized we don't have enough lights. And she didn't want to just go and buy a new string of lights that weren't going to be color matched, because you know how that can be. So instead of going all the way to Walmart, we tried all the local places first. So I drove her to the Dollar General, and then I drove her to the Family Dollar, because she was tracking down lights that they said were there, but they weren't.
They weren't.
She kept walking out with the lights. So then we went to Pineo's, and they had stuff there, but she walked out with nothing. So we came back home, and I figured she kind of talked about how she hasn't quite decided if she wanted to get lights from Pineo's or not. Instead of parking in my parking spot, I parked behind her car in the driveway.
Is that where the ducks are?
Yeah, I park up where the ducks are. I figured we'd be heading out again, but she hadn't quite decided, so I parked behind her. So I put my foot down on the ice, and I instantly slipped and fell and hit the ground, and I almost slid underneath my truck. And I caught the footstep thing. That's what kept me from going all the way under. And I was telling Molly, I don't think I hit my head because it didn't hurt, but when I came in and I helped, wrangle in this tree, and I sat down, and there was like a point in time where the tree moved, and I couldn't tell if it had shifted in the stand or if it was me. And then I realized it was me. And I may have given myself a slight concussion, but I didn't think I hit my head at all. So there's that. So that was I didn't go to the marriage conference, but I fell for my wife. I fell for her all over again.
Oh my goodness.
So there, that was my day.
I think that's it. That's all we got. Thank you all for being here and hanging out with us and listening to our funny stories of falling down and hitting garages. And be safe out there. It is icy and windy and snowy and all the junk, and it'll be that way until next November. Until next time, this has been Take Me Deeper. This is Casey Hill.
And this is Nate Dudley.
And thank you so much, and God bless every one of you.
Peace.
To me, like I come in the storm, you share your love with me. Understood like a darkened cloud, brought no light, rain into your can of love, bending my life into sweet. Messiah, come and rescue me. Holy, triumphant King of majesty, honor and power, glory be. Jesus, take my heart. Lord Jesus, take my heart. Lord Jesus, take my heart and bring me to life.
I still want this to happen,
Mm.
and I still think people are scared to message us. There's like 2 people that will write messages to us.
Yep.
So you guys need to cut it out. Stop being wimpy.
Because the carnal mind is in the beta, Amanda's gonna love me. He look like a man.
So that just reminded me that Aaron definitely threw in a Nacho Libre reference in his service today.
Which one? The first service? Second service?
I think it was the second service.
Oh, see, I don't go to that one. So what do you say?
I can't remember.
Oh no!
I can't remember, but it was
Definitely Nacho.
Yeah, it was definitely a Nacho Libre. I'll have to listen to it again.
Yeah, I don't know. He looked like a man. That's from Mad TV. This one. But yeah. So
hold on, we're gonna go.
He's going on a dive.
We're gonna go.
We
read
live
on
in a yellow
John
submarine.
chapter 1. We're gonna go read some John chapter 1. like, you know, like, and what is it? Edit.
What is that verse? What is that verse? Hold on.
Editing is great.
Can't hear my stupidity. She's gonna make that a blooper reel or something. And whenever I say that, that's when she does it.
Blooper.
Flesh. Like I always act like we're doing this live. I always want to be like, sorry guys. Oh my gosh. Okay. Activity. That might be it. So,
honestly,
but yeah, if like
they'll. Have you seen the Oscar Isaac hippopotamus song?
No.
Okay.
I'll have to take a look at that.
Yeah.
We'll keep that in there. So,
and I did it and
she's cleaning a table. Anyway,
because we have our announcements all pre-recorded now.
Yeah, delete.
Edit.
Recalibrate. No.
So
it's just your truck was on early in the morning.
Yeah.
I was gonna text you and say, turn off your truck.
I was in it.
That would have been like 9 o'clock in the morning. 8:30.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So anyway, I it was in the stand and it made this weird. It moved. Like,
welcome to Take Me Deeper.
That is it for today. Thank you for watching and listening to the live. And I'll see you tomorrow morning. Have a blessed night, and God bless you.